What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of This Call May Be Recorded. I'm Zach Garside. I am your host. This is a show where we listen to customer service phone calls and we coach them up live. Today, I've got, as usual, 4 phone calls for you. A couple of calls that we were very impressed by, a couple of calls that we were not that impressed by. So excited to share these phone calls with you. Disclaimer on these calls, I've not heard any of them. I make it a point not to listen to the calls before this show. I have another team do that so that I can react live with all of you. But I want to go on a quick rant really quick before I start playing these phone calls. I recently heard the executives at a contracting business in the industry who have a lot of call center challenges, retention among them, customer experience isn't that great, morale is pretty low a lot of the times. There's just a lot of the common problems that call centers face happening there. And one of the executives at this company looked at me and said, well, that's just how call centers are. That's just how it is. That's how everybody operates. This is just these are the cards we are dealt. This is what we have to live with. You mean to tell me that you're okay settling for mediocrity? You mean to tell me that you're okay with an entire department in your company going home every single day feeling like crap because they're the lowest paid, most underappreciated, most undervalued people in your business? You're okay with that because that's just how it is. You're okay with that department being a revolving door of people coming in and out and in and out and in and out and never staying, never giving you any loyalty because that's just how it is? I feel bad. I truly feel bad for the CSRs that go into a company and are told over and over again, you don't matter. You are the lowest paid person here. You have to do the hardest job. You have to take the most crap from people. But that's just how it is. Really? Is that what we're going to do? Is that how we're going to treat the customer service department? The first impression of your business? That's how you're going to treat those people? You spend a whopping ton of money on billboards and ads and truck wraps and sales training and technicians. What about the first impression of the business? What about the only person in your company that the customer actually wants to listen to? When you advertise to the customer, they're giving you passive attention. When the technician comes into their home, they've got their guard up. They don't want to be sold to. There's only one person in your business that the customer actually wants to give their time and attention to. Do you know who that is? It's the CSR. You're shouting to get their attention with your advertising, but when they call the customer service rep, that CSR can whisper, and the customer will hear their every word. Why? Because they want to, because they're invested in the outcome. And yet this is the part of the business we neglect. You do not have a retention problem. You do not have a call conversion problem. You don't have a customer experience problem. You have a culture problem. You've got a culture where the people who are responsible for your business's first impression are constantly reminded that they're at the bottom of the totem pole. You have a big meeting for your managers and directors. You got a big training for your sales reps and technicians. You get donuts and coffee and chocolate milk and snacks and all this stuff. And what do you do with all the leftovers? You send it to the CSRs. I remember being a CSR at a company a few years back. And our sales team at our company had all these meetings every week to train them and check in on them and see how they were doing and build camaraderie and culture within the team. They would get meals catered for these trainings and these meetings. And they had delicious food, acai bowls and sandwiches and delicious baked goods and drinks. And when the meetings were over and they all went back to their work fulfilled and trained and knowing that the company cares about them, guess who got the leftover snacks, leftover food, the half-eaten stuff that nobody else wanted to touch? The CSRs. They would cart them over to us with all these, in containers, and we got the leftovers. And of course, we were like, oh, great, leftovers. But now that I look back, I'm like, leftovers? Am I a dog? Am I a pig? A pig in my sty walking up to the trough as they pour food into it? Is that how important I am to this company? I quit that job. I was one of the customer service people who left. Now I'm being pretty fiery about this, but I just want to get this message across, you guys. This is the first impression of your business, the last if they mess it up. These are the people that the customer actually wants to listen to. These are the people the customer actually wants to talk to and get answers from. And yet we treat them like they're second-class citizens in our companies. We treat them like a necessary evil or some kind of expense we have to incur because somebody's got to answer the phones. We don't even do meetings or trainings with them. I remember being in that company and the sales team would always get these trainings and meetings and all this great stuff, right? We didn't. When we had meetings, they broke us up into teams and they rounded us off into a room like we were animals. And they were very strict about the rules. They didn't let us participate. It was just a delivery of information. Hey, you guys are great. Go back to work now. Bring in the next group. Next. Bring in the next group of CSRs. And the energy and the spirit that I saw in those sales meetings and those executive meetings that the company had, there was nothing like that in the CSR meetings. The CSR meetings were dull, drab, boring deliveries of information, a constant reminder that we're just here to fill a seat and to answer the phones. Someone's got to answer the phones. That's what people say. You got to keep the phones staffed. That's why they couldn't bring us off into any meetings or anything. I'm not saying you have to hurt your company's productivity, you guys. All I'm saying here is care. Care about these people. Care about your customer service representatives. Care about your business's first impression. If you do, they will repay you in loyalty and in productivity, in culture, in morale. It is not a cost. It is not an expense. I've spoken to many business owners over the years, people who are numbers driven, which is great. Being numbers driven is extremely important to run a successful business. And we would tell them, hey, look, we listen to your calls. We talk to many of your CSRs, and these are some of the problems. And all they did was roll their eyes and say, what's the bottom line here? What's the ROI? I'm like, ROI? Your team is freaking miserable out there. You're losing CSRs every month. I guess the ROI is you don't have to hire new people. I don't know exactly what the ROI is going to be all the time. I wish I did, but every company tracks things so differently. We try our best to track it. We try our best to get the ROI. The bottom line is you've got a team that hates their jobs. You've got customers that are being neglected when they call in, and you're asking about ROI. You don't have a retention problem. You don't have a call conversion problem. You have a culture problem. This show is where we try to solve those problems. This show is where we listen to customer service phone calls that have been recorded and we coach them up. As I mentioned today, I've got 4 phone calls to share for you. While I pull these up, where are you from? Where are you listening in from? Hit the comment section. Let me know where you are at right now. And let's listen to these calls. Here we go. Call number 1.
Thank you for calling. How may I help you?
Hi, yes. This is schedule my regular maintenance for spring.
Oh, okay, perfect. Well, I can definitely help you with that. Who am I speaking with?
It's
Perfect. So we can definitely get that coordinated. So is everything working well for you? Just calling in to get that maintenance coordinated?
Love that.
Yeah, it's working well. It's just the maintenance.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, yeah, we can definitely get that set up for you. Now, as far as availability, did you have a day or time in mind, or what's your availability like as far as having a technician come out?
Love that. I love asking the customer when they want somebody to come out or when they're available for us to come out versus just telling them what we have available. All the time you hear CSR say, hey, I've got 8 to 12 today. Customer says, no, that won't work. Okay, well, what about 12 to 4? No, that's not going to work either. Okay, what about tomorrow? And there's just like this back and forth, right? As they're trying to find a time to come out. You can cut all that out and make the customer experience better, make the customer feel important by asking them, hey, when do you want somebody to come out? What's your availability like? Let's take a look at the schedule and see what we can do for you. See? That's a lot.
It's working.
Okay, well, let's get pulled up and we'll take a look here at the schedule for you. Can I have your address to pull that?
Sure, it's,
Okay, we cut out the address, obviously.
28209. All right, let me get the schedule pulled up here for you, and I'll see what we've got available for Wednesday. Take a look here. Okay, so we could do Wednesday the 9th. We'll be in the area. We could do an 8 to 9 a.m. that day. He also has, let's see here, he has a 2 to 5 available that day. If either of those would work for you.
Well, the afternoon might, it would just, became at 2 or something.
And I can look at, if you want to look at maybe that next, with a different, maybe look for a different Wednesday. That would be easier, or?
Okay.
Actually, that probably worked, the 2 to 5.
Okay, perfect. So Wednesday, March the 9th, with a projected arrival of 2 to 5 p.m. And what we'll do is we'll send you a confirmation the night before. And then, of course, you'll get an email notification when he's heading your direction. We've got 980-213-1923. Is that still a good number to send that confirmation to and on the way notification?
Yes.
Okay, perfect, awesome. And it looks like that's going to be he's great. He's one of our certified techs, so he'll come out there for you and take care of that maintenance and do that thorough cleaning and servicing of both systems.
Love it.
Everything is performing
Building
properly
value.
for you and get everything ready to go for the cooling season. And it does look like this is that prepaid visit on your contract. So everything is covered under the contract.
Nice.
In the fall. So this is that.
I just want to point out that it was an excellent job of her to talk about the pricing, to talk about the fact that it's already prepaid after she explained how the service works. That's what we call building value first. Really excellent job. Let me share with you, actually. I'm gonna pull my screen up, and I am going to show you. There it is. All right. Let's look at my screen for a second here. I want to share with you the flow that this CSR just demonstrated. All right, here we go. This is called the pattern for excellence. So what she did first is she was positive. She had a positive greeting with the customer. Number 2, she demonstrated confidence. And number 3, she listened to what the customer's needs are. After that, she empathized with the customer, reassured the customer that we can help and everything's going to get taken care of. Then she asked, when do you want somebody to come out? What does your schedule look like? After she got the call booked and asked for the appointment, she built value, explained how the service worked, presenting pricing after that value. And I imagine that she's going to end the call with gratitude. This is how you win the moment with your customer, right here. Given these principles don't always go in perfect sequence, sometimes you got to listen first, and then you go to value building because the customer's concerned about a price, and then you bring it back to asking for the appointment. But this is the flow. This is the pattern that this CSR just followed in booking that call. Let's go back now, and let's listen to the remainder of the call to see if she shows that gratitude at the end. Oh, we're going to have to skip forward.
Thank you for calling. Everything is covered under the contract when your day's renewed in the fall.
Okay.
So this is that prepaid visit. So we'll definitely get you set up. I know the weather's starting to get warm on us again. So we definitely want to get out there and take care of that maintenance for you.
Nice.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Wonderful. Awesome. Well, sounds great. Well, we look forward to seeing you on Wednesday the 9th. And like I said, you'll get that confirmation and notification when we're on the way.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Well, thank you for choosing us. Hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay, nice job. Nice. That was good. She didn't show a lot of gratitude at the end. I would have said, hey, thank you so much for giving us a call. We really appreciate you choosing us. We know you have a lot of options, but we're grateful for your business. Other than that, though, excellent call. Let's listen to another one.
Hi, how are you?
I don't know, why am I being transferred?
I was just trying to better assist you. Let me see here. So you were saying that there's
You
a
guys
note
called
in the
me.
account.
Okay, let's just say, you guys called me. You initiated the call. All right?
Okay, and you were requesting a water heater to be installed in April? Just so I can understand.
This shows how much you people don't communicate with one another.
Ouch.
An
Ouch.
excellent workman for your company replaced an anode in my water heater, one of 2 water heaters, and told me that could possibly get me through until spring. It's written on the receipt of what I paid that if your company replaces the water heater, even knowing it's replacing it with one that I currently have because of the, I'm sorry, because of the problem of not making water heaters this size to fit into the area that it's going into, that I have one in stock in my garage. Tim had told me that they would deduct the price of the anode for the one that's in there,
Half
that he
the
put
price,
in there.
half the cost of the anode rod.
Don't
The
interrupt.
cost of the anode rod
Don't interrupt.
and do it.
Okay, you've got an opportunity to empathize with an upset customer, not correct them. You should be taking the opportunity to say, hey, you've done the right thing by calling us. Instead, we're correcting them. That's the only thing we've said in response so far is, oh, it's half the price, not full price, half the price. Empathize, not correct.
Doing the replacement of a water heater that I have in my garage, that would be deducted from my bill.
So it would be half of the cost of the anode rod would be taken off of the installation price of the customer supplied water heater.
No, the price of the anode rod would be deducted.
Half the cost of the anode rod to the installation of new water heater. Customer supplied.
No. Look at my receipt.
I'm reading it from the receipt.
Oh. Ouch.
Second water heater is
Can
on
you
the
send me
side
a
of the house
copy of that? Can you
Water
send me
heater
a copy
is
of that
from
receipt?
2006.
Can you send
Listen,
me a copy of that receipt?
Yes, I sure can. Let me see. What is a good email?
By
for you?
snail mail.
oh, by
Okay,
snail mail.
Yes.
So anyway, the reason why I was calling, well, I didn't call, you guys called me. The reason why I was talking to her is that I was requesting a call in March or April prior to the expiration of that anode rod installation, so I could take advantage of what was being presented by, and all of a sudden, she just had a really big problem that she couldn't do anything. I don't know who did it.
Well, ma'am, she just didn't understand the request is all, so I was trying to help the best of my ability.
Well, yeah,
And again, I am
I can't understand either. I've been in retail for 50 years. I just can't understand either that people just don't listen.
Okay, well, it does state on the notes, on the work order that you should have received, if water heaters should go out in a year, we will credit half the cost of the anode rod to the installation of new heater. And I will mail that to you again so you can see that.
Okay. I
So
would-
it would be
When
$140.
when she called me, without me instigating a call to her, I asked, could you put me on the call list, like in March, to remind me that we need to get this done?
Oh, yeah,
And
absolutely. I can do
she
that.
had a huge problem with that.
Okay, ma'am, I will make sure that that gets taken care of for you.
Okay, so my husband used to do all this stuff. He is incapable right now. He can't speak. He can't write. I'm trying to do the best I can.
Okay, no worries.
And when she couldn't handle this basic problem, I don't know what the problem is with their company. I just got through talking up how wonderful your company is, opposed to 1 hour air conditioning and heating, this horseshit that I've been putting up with since 2019 with problems. So I hope you can handle this, because I've been giving praises to this company to other people in my orbit.
Okay, ma'am, it was just a misunderstanding. It wasn't anything that she was incapable of doing. It was just a misunderstanding. She didn't understand what you were requesting.
I think it's more than that.
Okay,
I
ma'am.
think you
Have a
need
good day,
to-
okay? We'll reach out to you in March.
I think you need to retrain her.
Ma'am,
the
did you
problem.
want? Okay, that's not.
I
a
wanna know her
statement.
I want to know her name.
I'm not sure that that's gonna make a difference, ma'am. We're all trying.
Yeah. Call back to try to correct this. I want to know her name. It's just like requesting the ID of a police officer. I want to know her first name.
Her name is.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good day.
Thoughts? Hit the comment section. Tell me what you think. Here's the thing. You don't have to agree with the way that customer acted. You don't have to think that it was kind or polite. You don't have to think it was even fair. You can think that that customer's rude and mean and kind of hard to talk to. But I would be remiss not to say that our job is to focus on the things which we can control. You cannot control what the customer does or says. You cannot control their tone or how they act. You have no influence over that whatsoever. None. All you can do is care. All you can do is listen, empathize. In 7 minutes and 15 seconds on that phone call, the customer had a lot of negative things to say, both about their problem, about the company, about the first CSR that they spoke to. Lots of negativity coming from that customer. Maybe it was warranted, maybe it wasn't. I'm not going to be the judge of that right now. I'm going to focus on what I can control. And what I can control is the fact that I should empathize with that person, not judge them. I should be curious about how I can serve them, not condemn them, not correct them, not interrupt them. I can empathize with the fact that there was an undeniable shift in her emotional energy when she began to talk about her husband and the fact that he can't read or write or do anything right now. You could hear that she got a little emotional there. And we said nothing. We did nothing to help her there. Again, I'm not saying what the customer did was right. What I'm saying is we can't judge them. We can't condemn them or complain about them. Because who's to say that you wouldn't act the exact same way that customer did if you were in a similar situation? Who's to say you wouldn't act exactly the same if your spouse had a disability? If you were in a difficult situation financially, if you had just paid for a service from a company and you felt like you were being treated unfairly, who's to say you wouldn't do precisely the same thing that customer did? We don't know that. We cannot judge. We cannot condemn. We cannot complain. We must serve. We must empathize. We must tell the customer, you have done the right thing by calling to let us know our service has not been perfect. My name is Zach, and I am going to get you taken care of. I'm going to make it my top priority to assist you right now. Tell me what's going on. Empathize with them. Listen to them. Show them that you care. Reassure them that you can help. Going back to our pattern from a minute ago, let me put it back on the screen for you. We answer the phone with a positive attitude, positive greeting. We demonstrate confidence because confidence is contagious. If you showcase confidence, guess who else is going to feel confident? The customer. We listen because understanding invites connection. When that customer feels like you understand them, that's when they start to want to do business with you. People do business with the companies with whom they have the clearest mutual understanding. You get me and I get you. That's who I'm going to work with. Number 4 is you care about them because empathy validates their worth. When they tell you about their spouse's disabilities or about all the problems they've endured to get this taken care of, you empathize with them. You care about the situation. Take ownership of it. Communicate that with, oh no, that's terrible. I hate to hear that. That's so frustrating, but you've done the right thing by calling. And then you reassure them we can help, because that's when they begin to trust you, is when you reassure them that you're going to take ownership of the problem. Then you ask for their business. You ask them for permission. You invite them to do the next thing that's going to help them solve the problem. And then you build value. You help them visualize what the service is going to look like from here. Don't make them guess what happens next. Explain the next step so clearly that A, they can be excited about it, and B, they can feel like you really care, like you're actually offering something valuable to them. That's how they become committed to you. And then number 8, show your sincere gratitude for the customer, because gratitude is what builds loyalty. When they feel like you're grateful for them, that's what makes them want to call you back in the future. That's how you win the moment with your customer. And I emphasize win the moment because that's what you actually have control over. You can't control whether that customer responds positively. You can't control whether they say wow or give you a compliment or take down that 1-star review. You can't control any of those things. What you can control is if you win the moment when you're talking to them. That's what we need to do. All right, everybody. I wanted to show this little comment from Christy. Thanks for chiming in, Christy. I think she needed to sympathize with the customer and apologize to her. Try to calm the situation down a bit. Let her feel as if you heard what she said. Take her feelings seriously. Well said, Christy. All right, everybody. We are out of time. But I want to say thank you for all of you attending today's episode of This Call May Be Recorded and attending every week for those of you who jump on. This has been the 14th episode. Next week, we will be hosting episode 15 of This Call May Be Recorded, the show where we listen to customer service calls and coach them up. We'll see you next time.